There we go. So we want to make sure that we can add in anything that you guys have questions about too. What happens to my Zoom? There we go. Okay, cool. So we're going to dive into this. So what's the first topic that you guys have questions on when it comes to cold calling? Before I just dive into a rant, because I think we all know I'm pretty good at diving into rants.
What do you feel is the best times of day to cold call?
Best times of day? Okay. What else we got, guys? What other questions do you guys have when it comes to cold calling?
Maybe how, when you start the cold calling process and you first get your potential prospect on the phone, how do you make it seem so that, how do you basically build the best rapport right off the bat so you're not just another salesman?
Rapport at the beginning of the call. Awesome. That's actually the topic for that in the terms of rapport at the beginning of the call is going to be your introduction. So we'll dive into that. Oh.
Getting past the gatekeeper.
Shit, what just happened here? Getting past the gatekeeper. Dope. Yeah, I agree with that. That's something that that's a whole nother skill on its own in the call, right? And when it comes to getting past the gatekeeper, you always want to treat the gatekeeper like the decision maker. And we'll get into how we're going to do that here in a second. All right, what else we got on this, guys? What other questions you guys have specifically? Because even though we are continuing to teach and coach on different aspects of the sales process, this is still a coaching session, right? So we want to address anything you guys have question with before we just start going into a rant on what we're going to teach. Does that make sense? What else we got? I hate not being able to see anyone's face. Oh, there we go. Now pop back up. God, Zoom is so weird. All right. So what else we got, guys? Best times of day, report the introduction of the call, getting past the gatekeeper.
Best industries to cold call.
Now, oh, shoot, what just happened? When we talk about industries, remember the whole idea of the art of sales is for you guys to go after whatever industry you want, unlike agency in a box, which we previously had. Where it was only geared towards 2, 3 now niches. We gave everyone the tools here to be able to build out for whatever niche you guys are comfortable with. So in the terms of best industries to cold call, we're going to want to dive into knowing which ones are going to have the money based on their lifetime value of the customer. But in the terms of who you should go after, take that into account, the lifetime value, but go after industries you're the most familiar with already. A lot of the times people, especially starting out in SMMA or even experience, because a lot of you guys are already experienced if you're in this program, is that, they're looking for the most profitable niche. And the truth is, like, all niches are profitable if you position it the right way and you're only going after people with money. Like, we just signed a yoga studio. I actually sold the contract, but I signed them on for $3,000 a month. And it was a yoga studio. And I had no idea that was a lot of money for a yoga studio, because I'm just used to being able to reverse engineer KPIs to sell any deal. So the niche has never been like an obstacle for me. So my suggestion is to always go after niches that you're familiar with already in the terms of their problems, big and small. Because once you learn how to position a solution to a problem, you are literally unstoppable. And to be honest, that's kind of an issue Temple and I run into when we close deals, is that we'll occasionally sell deals to people that don't have the money to buy it, but they buy it anyway. And that's, you're going to, as a professional, you're going to learn the line, because you don't want to sell deals to people that don't have the money to buy it, because when you do it the way we're teaching you guys, they will buy it anyway.
That's a bold statement. I like it.
Yeah, dude, it sounds cool, but there's a lot of ethics involved. I remember jumping on calls. If you guys remember, I started agency in a box. I don't know how long you guys have been following my journey before the art of sales, but With Agency in a Box, when we only had like 7 people in there, and I soft launched it, 9-10 months ago. I was jumping on calls with people, and people, I remember this call was on with, I think, Sebastian Robeck. I was closing a deal for him, and they wanted to go take a loan out to sign on the deal. And I had to tell them no. That's like super extreme, but you're going to get to a point where this level of communication will get people to want to buy anything from you. It's crazy. But we're getting more into that. We're structuring the programs. You guys can see. Well, wait till you see the new structure. You guys are going to freaking lose your minds. It's so sexy. Temple's actually working on it right now. But all right. So what else we got, guys? Best industries to cold call. Lily, what do we got? Justin, don't be Jess. Oh, Justin, you muted, bro. Hold on a sec. All right,
Sorry about that. Off the top of my head, I have no. I can't think of anything.
Okay, Lily, what about you? I want to hear from everybody. We all have different obstacles because we have different upbringings. Lily, where you at, girl? We see here.
Hey, what about when the gatekeeper says, "I'll just take a message"?
Oh, when they say that, let's just take a message.
Yeah.
Say.
And I'm not Lily, by the way.
Yeah, kind of figured it. Okay, yeah. So when they say, the gatekeeper says, "Can I just take a message?" You always, okay, so let me put this in here, actually, sub bullet. You always want to acknowledge and agree. Let me see, I can, so this way you can see that. Always acknowledge and agree. Here's the thing. We live in a world now where it used to be the customer's always right, but it's a different world now. So we live in a world where the customer is usually wrong, but agree with them anyway. And I know that sounds funny, but the reason why, and I don't want it to be taken out of context, but the reason why we do that is because there's just such a large amount of people scamming people now. And business owners have their guard up. So anytime that somebody, you guys probably heard this saying before too, the first person to defend themselves is probably guilty. If you guys ever heard that one before. So the last thing you want to do is try to defend yourself and say like, "Oh, no. I mean, wouldn't he want to like, all I'm trying to do is help him get this many patients and blah, 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 or this many whatever." And it's like, now you're trying to defend yourself. Like, "Oh, I could leave a message, but are you actually going to give it to him?" Like, those are all really abrasive. You have not earned the right to be able to start coming in with tactics like that. So you always agree with them first. And then what it does is levels the playing field. Lily's, okay, no problem, Lily. That's cool. So you want to level the playing field because what it's going to do is drop their guard again. And people want to do business with people like them. People want to do business with people they like. All right. It doesn't matter how good your product or service is. People do business with people before they buy products or services. So what you want to do is go in there and agree and acknowledge. So they said, "Can I just take a message?" Hey, I totally understand. If I were in your position, I would probably want to do the exact same thing. Realistically, you don't know me and I don't know you. And he definitely doesn't know me. And sounds like your job is to filter all those crazy people out. Am I right or am I wrong? Because what's going to happen is now you've put them in the position, just like we have our pitch deck set up, right? To alternate close at the very end of the call between 3 options. You've now put them in the position to choose between whether you're right or you're wrong. The alternate choice close plus future pacing, which we didn't include in there, but the alternate choice close is one of the most powerful closes you're going to have. And that could be done at any point of the sales process, even from the time of the cold call. Does that make sense? Agree to acknowledge, and then hold on. Agree to acknowledge. Let me see if I can type on here. You're going to restate, which basically lets them know you heard them, which is where you repeat it back to them, right? So let me just redo this again. So she says, "Can I take a message?" Or he says, "Can I take a message?" You say, "Hey, I totally understand. You probably want to take a message because more than likely, I don't know you don't know me, and you're here to filter out the crap. Yes or no?" So you're going to restate and then end in a question. Does that make sense? How that works?
Yeah.
Yes.
Dope. Okay. What else we got, guys?
I got one. How about defusing objections right off the bat? Like, for example, you go into your elevator pitch with the gatekeeper, and then they say, "No, I'm not interested. That's okay. Bye."
Okay. Yeah.
They're
So
trying to get you off the phone as quick as possible.
yeah, those people, to be honest, those are the ones you don't mess with.
Okay.
If they're going to be that, they're going to have that much like barrier of entry. Like I wouldn't mess with it because they haven't even given you the chance to be able to talk to them.
Well, what about because I'm pursuing Invisalign leads. So with dentistries or orthodontists, they have they're conditioned to have this large barrier in front of them. And, they get marketers calling them all the time, every hour of the day, right? So how do I go past that, or anyone else?
Dentists are going to be tough to do that. With dentists, I always suggest to walk in or to take one, because you can walk in on Fridays, and typically the dentist themselves is going to be in there in the office, the owner, between like 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. But their staff won't be there. Typically, dental practices take off on Fridays. The other thing would be addressing their current ads and then being able to bring to light a flaw. So like a lot of them do direct mail and say, "Hey, I noticed that you're pushing out this direct mail. I wasn't sure if you are already doing this, but the majority of our best customers that are using direct mail will come in and they'll do Facebook ads instead because we're able to actually track each point of contact and then send them a new message after the engagement." And what you're doing is you're just telling them one thing, even though that sounds simple, you just need to tell them one thing they aren't familiar with.
So in other words, don't cold call them.
You can try to cold call them, but always remember you're probably going to get the gatekeeper first, and your initial goal needs to get the decision maker's name. So then the next time you could ask for a decision maker, this is good actually to make sure you put in here. Follow up on the cold call. And the initial, especially with dental practices, big attorneys are the same way, by the way. You're going to run into a lot of gatekeepers and big attorneys. I used to only sell big attorneys. So follow up on the cold and trucking companies. But the initial is going to be getting their, can't even spell initial. Contact is, drawing a blank, guys, sorry. The initial contact is getting the name. And then the next is asking for the DM, decision maker. And then the next is going to be getting them on a call or getting their email. And so if you don't get this, you're going to ask for their email or talk to them. Because if you can get their email now too, then now you can reach out to them. Now, typically with a dental practice, I've noticed that all the emails go through the receptionist. So that's why the VSLs are so important for this, because the receptionist will watch that. And the receptionists typically aren't obviously educated in marketing whatsoever. So it's really good for them to be able to see a step-by-step process that's simple. There's a saying out there that if you want to look smart, make it complicated. If you want to help people, make it simple. So that's why we've created these VSLs to be able to be super receptive. Like you see it, it's linear, it's step-by-step. There's no questions asked. This is how it's done. Makes it very simple. So then you could just send that to them. And then, so your third point of contact would be sending them an email and then follow-up call.
Cool question, Rob. Would you recommend cold calling them just to get them to watch the VSL?
Great question. Yes. So we actually did this on a call the other day because Temple and I, we're very high energy people, but sometimes we also will have lower energy, right? So I was like, you know what? F this. Let's just make some freaking cold calls, bro. Let's get this going, which we don't do anymore. But I was like, F it. Pull some people up right now. And he pulled up the top 3 people he found on realtor.com. The first one went to voicemail. The second went to voicemail and they text me. And then I was like, if they wanted to call me back, I was like, no, it's all right. And then the third one did answer and we booked a call. And it was that simple. So as long as you get the decision maker on the call, it'll work. And all I did was saying, hey, we have a step-by-step process that we've used to help realtors be able to find more buyers or sellers. I was like, I'd love to show you that step-by-step process if you have an email address. And then what I'd like to do is follow up with you tomorrow at this time to see what you thought. They're like, yeah, sure, send it over. Let's do it.
So all in all, how long did this initial call take?
Probably 4 minutes, 3 minutes.
Okay.
Because you can do this in high volume. When you don't have ad spend, so like now we're running ads, obviously through our application funnel. But when you don't have ad spend, this is the easiest way to do it because now you're building a pipeline. And
How much of cold calling are you going to try to like do one call closes, or is it really just about an introduction?
Oh, so when it comes to doing it this way, when they see the VSL, you're typically going to get a one call close. And the reason why is we're not super expensive. You know, our lowest is 3,500 and our highest entry package is like $6,000 a month. And it's easy for them to pull the trigger on that because they only need 1 or 2 sales a month. And then also they've already seen how it works. So you're not trying to battle like, are you credible? How do you do it? Like all these basic objections that people are used to seeing or hearing, you're not dealing with. What makes learning the objection handling so important is whenever you're having to actually be in the close. You never want to try to objection handle like that on the phone, trying to get the appointment. That's a poison. Like that's going to be a horrible client to deal with. You want to have to handle those objections after they've already shown interest. They've wanted to invest their time with you. And then they're going to pull a trigger with somebody because you've already gone through the entire pitch. They've seen all of your alternate choice packages. And that's when your objection handling becomes aggressive sometimes. It's our favorite part. So.
And when you send the VSL, do you send them to a funnel or just simply the VSL itself?
Good question. When it comes to this process, VSL.
Okay.
Because you're able to be on the phone and ask them those qualifying questions the next time you hop on.
All right. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. Until you start running ads, it's obviously a different world, different ballgame. So way more fun. But until then, this is still easy. Make the phone call. It lasts 5 minutes or less. You get their email, which you then upload into your database. And by the way, if you're doing this and you're like seriously grinding, and I hate using that word grinding because I think we're beyond that in this day and age. But when you're grinding and you're doing this, that's 50 emails a day of people you've already talked to. So now you've built up a database. Okay. And that's 1,000 emails a month. You see how that works? And then if you want to send them through an application funnel, you do an email blast and say, hey, I'd love for you guys to see what we're doing here. We're helping dental practices generate 1 to 3 new high-paying cosmetic clients a month. I'd love to show you how. Click here. So you can make it that simple. So if you're cold calling, that's how you do it. Get the decision maker name, get their email, see if they're interested in getting more buyers and seller leads. If they say no, then move on. We're not trying to battle those types of objections on the phone for an appointment. That means they're not in the market. Similar to how people visit your landing page with ads, if they see that landing page, they've already seen the VSL and they fill out the application, they're qualified. If they see your landing page and they do nothing, they're not qualified.
They're further down the buying cycle, so to speak.
Exactly. So it makes it very, very simple to be able to just qualify. What else we got here, guys? What are the questions we have on the cold call?
How do you kind of filter out people before you start cold calling? So what do you look for when you decide who you want to cold call and who you don't?
Good question. So I always like to look for people spending money on ads already. Either that, or I like to look on, like we use realtor.com and stuff to see who the top agents are. But when I was calling attorneys and trucking companies, I would always look for the people spending money on ads already.
And how would you find those ads?
You could just go to Google, type in attorneys in my area, or type in a specific sub niche of that niche. So you could be like, let's stick with attorneys. So let's say you were doing like medical malpractice attorneys in Kansas City. or you're doing like truck accident attorney in Kansas City, because you're going to find the people that are spending money on that specific service. So it makes the conversation super easy, especially if you're somewhat well-versed in that industry. You can come in, you could say, hey, I noticed that you were handling medical malpractice within Kansas City, and I'm sure you've already heard of this case. I wasn't sure if you're already on that case or you're looking for ways to be able to expand the reach and get more people involved in that and maybe start a class action. And they'll be like, never thought about that. How's that possible? See, great question. I agree with you. That would be great, wouldn't it? There's a certain tactic you guys are going to learn in this. And I remember the first time Temple heard me do it, he's like, the fuck? And basically what you're able to do, and you guys just heard me do it, and probably, I don't know if you caught on to it or not, but the way it works is you're getting people to say what you're thinking and then agreeing with them as if it were their own idea. So, because the thing is, people can believe the sky is green and the grass is blue. And until they say it, otherwise, it's true. You cannot tell somebody to do something. You need to teach them how to do it. And then they'll believe in it. Nobody likes to be told to do something. They like to be taught. They like to be in control. So all you need to do is basically, have you seen the movie Inception?
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up.
A long time ago.
Yeah, I remember. I think maybe I got this from that. I don't know. I just started doing it for a while and I noticed it worked. But yeah, you're planting your idea in their mind and then you're getting them to agree with it. And then you say yes. So that's why you always do it that way. So anytime you're handling the gatekeeper too, it's the same thing. You know, like, hey, I totally understand you don't know me, and I'm sure that your job right now is to be able to filter out all these calls. If I were in your position, I would do the same thing. Is that basically what your role is here? You're trying to get rid of me because maybe I'm like just like a scammer or something, or maybe I'm just like another marketer. You're like, yeah, it's pretty much my job. I agree with you. I would do the exact same thing. I think you're 100% right for doing that. So it just creates a different momentum. So then they feel they're in control of the conversation.
What's the best way to start a cold call?
I always like to just say exactly whatever my specific goal is for that business. So for the trucking industry, I would say, hey, my name is Rob. I own a marketing company out here in Kansas City, and I've had a lot of success working with trucking or working with recruiters to find more quality applicants. I wasn't sure who I need to speak to over there that I could show a step-by-step process to and how we do that. And then they'd be like, oh, you want to talk to this person or you want to talk, because the message is so clear in what I do that they'll know exactly who to send me to that deals with that specific thing. So if you're going back to dentists and you were to go back and say, hey, my name's Justin. I own an agency out here in X city. And I've had a lot of success working with dental practices, generate Invisalign clients, generate 1 to 3 Invisalign clients in the first 30 days. And I was just interested to see who I could show a step-by-step process to and how we do that. And the reason why I always put in there step-by-step, they love the idea of just knowing that they'll have each specific thing and it's clear and you're not trying to just like get them on the phone and sell them something. So we live in a new world now too, where the easiest way to build $1 million company or greater is to go in there and give them what to do and sell them how to do it.
So basically a general rule of thumb to follow with each cold call that you make is always go for a specific goal or have a specific goal in mind before you make the cold call. Like, for example, my goal would be to send a VSL, not to hard sell them on the service, so to speak.
Exactly.
Yes. So, or it could be the opposite, where you try to sell them on the service and don't send them the VSL or something like that, right?
Exactly. Yeah. If you could just go in there, and you'll have to feel it out sometimes too.
Yeah.
I always like to start out with a mission statement. Now that we have VSLs, the game's so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go in there and use the VSL pitch instead, like with the realtors. That's why it's different now, because I can go in if I know I have the decision maker. Because if I don't have the decision maker, it's going to be a little different. I want to get the decision maker's name first, just like you see here on the follow-up cold call. The initial contact is get the decision maker's name. The next call is to ask for the decision maker's name and talk to them or get an email. The next one is to send the email to them. But yeah, so if you get the decision maker on the call, let them know you want to send them a VSL.
Okay. Yeah, there's no magic bullet. Yeah, it's just a variety of things that may or may not work. So
it'll depend on the industry a little bit.
Yeah.
But the VSL will shorten the length of time that you get to the decision maker without ads. Because when you use ads, the decision makers or an influence in the decision making process is going to click on the ad for the inquiry. So that's what makes those really powerful. But until then, you follow the process of getting the decision maker's name, asking for them. You want to let them know what you do in order to get passed on to the right people. Whoops. So again, if you're dealing with the gatekeeper, you go in, let them know what you do. You know, I work with dental practices generating 1 to 3 cosmetic clients every month. I was looking to see if I could show a step-by-step process to. They'll let you know, oh, well, actually, I handle that. Okay, great. So I'm assuming what you mean by that. And just to clarify, repeat to them. Awesome, great. I'm assuming what you mean by that is that you make the decisions to see if you want to work with somebody or not. Did I hear you right? They're going to say, yeah, no, that's me. Okay, cool. Is there anybody else that would be involved in that decision-making process that we could, that I could meet? And then we could see if this is a good fit for you. You're future pacing. Because now you're basically establishing that you've already sold the deal. Now, they don't see it that way, but it's subliminal. So then they say, no, it's actually just me. Okay, great. Look, I don't want to jump into something and get ahead of ourselves. Would you feel more comfortable? And we're going to teach, you guys are going to learn selling words in the program, how we could replace certain words with other words that get people to want to buy faster. But you say, would you feel more comfortable if I could show you a video that my director of sales put together? That's the exact A to Z process that we use to make this work. I'm just not the hard closing type. So we put this together to see if this is something that would work for you. This is reverse psychology. And you guys will notice in all of the live calls that Temple and I do together that we sell together, I use this in every single call. I always like to say, look, as you can tell, I'm just not a hard closer. I'm just not that kind of guy. And you'll see I'll go in and close the deal for an hour. And I'll still be like, well, I'm just not a hard closer. I hate to haggle. It's just not my thing. I'm not a car salesman. I mean, can you agree? Do you hate that type of person too? And then all of a sudden they just assume that you're just not that.
Perception is truth.
Yeah. You're letting them think, you're getting them to think what you want them to think. So it is a different style of selling. It's a lot of the psychology versus just like, hey, are they qualified? Walk away. Because I know a lot of people are selling that way now. Where, if they're not qualified, then walk away immediately. Just keep going. But some people are qualified and just requires a little bit more work. And this does more than just get you the deal. This helps you learn how to control situations when you learn this level of psychology, not just in sales for your business, but really in anything in your life. So let's see here, how to filter out the cold call or how to filter out who you call. We start with people that have, already spend money on ads. Cool. Getting past.
Yeah. Also, when you have your follow-up cold call, I guess to the decision maker, after you get them to watch the VSL and you have an upcoming meeting, say the next day, are you going to try and get them on Zoom so you can show them the pitch deck, or just keep it over the phone because that's what you use the first time?
Great question. If you can get them me personally, I would just get them on the phone.
Okay.
If you booked an appointment with them, then you could send them a Zoom link. But if you're just following up and then you get them on the phone right then and there, then you're going to say, hey, are you next to a computer? We could just run through this right now if you have 20 minutes. And the thing with these people is if you do the follow-up call and you get them on there and you know this is actually going to take like 30 minutes, if you say, hey, do you have 20 minutes to make this work for you? Then they'll stay on the call longer if they like it. So they'll always stay on the call longer. I remember selling Kirby vacuums and being like, hey, could I just do a demo and clean your carpet for 15 minutes so I can get a paycheck? And then I'll just ask you a few questions. And if you want to kick me out, you can kick me out. If you want me to stay longer, then make me dinner. Then we'd be in there and, I crushed it, guys. So I made like 10 grand selling vacuums my first month. And you go in there and you'd be in there for hours. I don't know if you guys have ever had a good Kirby salesman. First of all, the only Kirby salesmen are good salesmen. They'll be in there for hours selling you that vacuum.
I used to have a Kirby vacuum in the 80s.
Yeah.
I was really young, so but I do remember it.
Yeah, they're some of the best salesmen selling Kirby's. You want to talk about a margin. That cost us $200 to buy and we sold it for $3,000. You want to talk about a margin. Back then, that was a lot of money, right? Per sale margin. All right. So, yep. So that's a good question, Thomas. You can get them on the phone. Just tell them 20 minutes. If they don't have that, but they are interested, then you book the time and send the Zoom link. What else we got here?
Not necessarily a cold calling question, but what happens if you and them, or you and the gatekeeper or the decision maker agree to a phone call, and you're signed up to Agency in the Box, and there's no one available, no closers? What do you do? Just wing it yourself? Yeah,
you have to do that, or just coordinate a time when they are available.
Okay.
We're trying to teach you this stuff so this way you don't have to like.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like, say this week, for example, I get someone who's interested, and yeah.
Dive in there and get it. Don't even be scared. You got this.
Jump in the fire, huh?
Well, we're adding in 2 or 3 more people this weekend. So you'll have them in there too. We vetted them, so they had to sell us on the product before we let them in. We want to make sure that everyone we have in there sells the exact same way.
I like the idea of trial by fire just because you can't learn unless you fail.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, and it's awesome. I'm telling you guys, there is no more empowering feeling than being able to control the outcome of a conversation. Like, to know that you can drive whatever desired result you want in your life through using words. It's fucking powerful. Think about it, guys. Like, do you watch Criminal Minds? If you guys watch if you guys watch it, they disarm people that have guns, assault rifles, by using their words. You want to talk about high-level psychology? That's how powerful words are. Like, whoever came up with the saying, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words can never hurt me, was not a fucking salesman. Straight up. You can fuck some shit up with some good words. So, all right, what else do we have here? We'll put on here booking the appointment, because I'm sure this one will get asked. So when I say booking the appointment, this is just making sure that you can get with the decision maker, and then the scripts. I'll put scripts, make sure we have those in there too. But scripts on how to be able to book that appointment at the very end. Because you want to make sure that you have like, you want to have the decision makers. You want to have the exact time, their email, and of each decision maker, because you want to make sure they all accept the invite. Exact time, just make sure you're in the right time zone, because we're selling all across the country. Yeah. So at the end of the call, you want to make sure you have a clear future on all this. Oh, and you want to ask the last question. You want to make sure that this decision maker that you have on here is on your side. And then what you do there is you say, if you could, whoops, sorry, this is the initial call. You want to say, based on what you know now, if you could pull the trigger on a program like this, would you? And the reason why you do that, yeah.
And this is about the like booking the appointment. So like for myself, I tend to have a pretty busy schedule as it is. So is there a way to approach people and say, hey, I can send you access to my personal calendar to schedule a call that would work best for you? Or is that a bad approach?
I would just have the VSL direct link to your Calendly. Because you guys will be able to do that. If you want to take the application funnel that we give you, take out the application and just keep in the VSL and just go ahead and add in the button to your Calendly. Because the next screen will do that. They could watch the VSL. You know, we should probably.
Could we just do like a split test type page or like a second like copy of the funnel and just have one that we send for like just VSL to appointment and then like one with the actual application like we'd send out through Meet Leonard or whatever?
Yeah, definitely. You could definitely do that. We want to make sure that the VSL that goes to the Calendly, yeah, that'll work. That's good. Oh yeah, we want to put has a time delay on the button to schedule. Make video showing how to do that. So the reason why you want to do this is because if you are going to send it this way, you want to make sure that they don't just click on the link to talk to you before they even know what the heck's going on. So what will happen is since the video is 10 minutes long or 9 minutes long, you won't have the video or the button to schedule a time with you pop up until you hit 8 minutes. This way you make sure that they're fully engaged in what you have going on. Rocking, that's good stuff. God, this is freaking kick ass, guys. I love cold calling. This is the shit. We'll do some live ones too.
I guess for me, I'm coming from cold calling. I've done insurance for like the last 6 years, so I've been cold calling like regular, consumers. Is there obviously there's going to be a different approach when you're calling a business, right?
Right. When you call in a business, it is a little different because you're not dealing with the decision maker right away. That's why it's important to make sure you get the decision maker. You don't try to overwhelm the gatekeeper, but you still treat the gatekeeper like the decision maker. Did I ever put that in here? Oh, whoops. This is always the biggest part of the process because nobody wants to feel underappreciated or less than. Psychology of people. So you always treat the gatekeeper like that. Hey, based on I understand you answer the phone all day long. I'm assuming that you're a key component in the decision-making process and what happens there at the firm or at the practice. Am I right or am I wrong? Alternate choice. They're going to say, oh no, I don't make the decisions, but yeah, I do vet out to see, who's good and who's not. And then you come back and say, great. Well, I only work with whatever niche. Knowing that, I'd love to show you a step-by-step process and exactly how we do this. Does that sound like the type of person that would be able to work with you and the doctor or to at least show you guys this? So again, you could let them know. I mean, it's a rhetorical question, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nearly anyway. And they're going to be like, yeah, no, it does sound like that. And then what you're going to say is, I completely agree with you. That totally sounds like the type of person you would do business with. So now you just made it their idea. Does that make sense? So this is more of, instead of trying to battle through to always try to fight to get what you want, this is more like verbal Hapkido. And if you guys are familiar with Hapkido, it's a type of karate that isn't on the offensive, it flows on the defensive. So whatever punch or kick comes at you, you move with that momentum to be able to create force. So instead of us combating everything they say, we want to move with what they say. It's like a wave. There's another saying that you can't stop like a wave coming at you or something like that. It sounds way cooler when I heard it, but it's like, oh yeah, you can't fight a moving wave. You can only move with it.
Yeah, so we're not parrying their objections. We're going with it and trying to make the best out of it.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And that can work with any single objection. Oh no, we already do that. Hey, I totally applaud you for doing that. I was hoping so. I figured you guys are already successful in doing that, so I applaud you for knowing. So here's what I'd like to do. You see how it works? Now we just moved with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh no, Facebook ads don't work. Hey, I completely agree. They can really suck some serious ass. 100%. I understand why you would say that. Most of my happiest customers have said that too. So I totally understand. So here's what I'd like to do. See how that works? You're not disagreeing with them at all. But yeah, it's not like an objection. It's just an excuse. It's like, oh, it's, I think it's a Grant Cardone thing. They're like, oh, it's, it's hot outside. Okay, great. Take your shirt off. Let's go. I'm not God. I can't change the weather. But what I can do is help move you in the right direction, help you have a little bit of fun. So, because most people, what they would do if somebody were to say, oh, Facebook ads suck, most normal salespeople will say, well, no, have you tried this? Or are you doing this? And like, that's not the way to approach it. They want to be the smartest person in the room because they've watched a Tai Lopez course. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Tai Lopez. I see that.
Yeah, right. I have never bought any of his stuff. But,
Me neither.
But that's how people feel, bro. They'll like buy a Gary Vee course. They'll watch a video on YouTube. They feel like they really know what they're doing. So it's important to recognize that. They feel proud of that. So the last thing you want to do is try to tear somebody down when you don't even know them. You haven't earned the right to be that forward.
What about when they, sorry, Rob, what about when they say that they already have a digital marketing company? Now, is there any resolution at all to that sort of outcome? Or are they, I don't know if they're buying to a contract. I guess it's kind of a loaded question. But
I love that.
Yeah, but what would you say in that situation?
So I'll let you know from experience. I'm going to tell you two things. So from experience, my first client, my second client, they were a restaurant chain. They had 7 locations, and they already had a team. They're a big restaurant chain. So I said, hey, I want to run Facebook ads for you. And of course, I didn't know Facebook ads or anything, or I had case studies at the time. I was brand new, but I knew sales. And they're like, well, we already have a team doing that. Totally understand. I applaud you for doing that. Kind of figured so because you're already a big restaurant chain. So here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to run this for you and show you how to do it from A to Z. And then I'd like to do a trial for you. And I signed them on a contract for 2 months, $7,500 a month. But that's what I told them. I was like, hey, I totally understand. I applaud you for even knowing you need to do that. And I'm sure you guys are doing really well. I'd like to run a trial for you and do Facebook ads for you. I've had a lot of success working with restaurants, being able to generate more traffic within the first 30 days. All I want to do is show you. I was like, what do you have to lose? What's the risk? You break even? Wow, that sucks. I was like, but I have a feeling that's not going to happen. I have a feeling we're going to do better than that. Confidence closes. And when you position it that way, it's like, oh, the second thing I was going to tell you is it's like I was carrying groceries up the stairs to my kids yesterday. We live on the 3rd floor. It's freezing. It's 3 degrees outside. We finally get inside. And my son's like, Dad, I can't carry these. They're too heavy. I was like, that's okay. Do it anyway. And he's like, okay, all right. And he carried the rest of the way. See what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of things people say, they just don't really know what they mean. They're just saying it because it's easy to default to. So if they tell you that and they say, why, I already have a team. That's great. Kind of assume you did. So here's what I want to do. I want to go ahead and get you started on a trial. And here's why. Confidence closes. I know it sounds like a little abrasive, but first of all, you shouldn't be at that part anyway until you're in the call. If you're on the cold call, you can just let them know, first agree and acknowledge. Yeah, I totally understand. I figured you had already had a team. What I like to do is show you a step-by-step process and how we've been so effective. And what are they going to say? No, the curiosity is going to get the best of them, especially if it's a CMO, which is typically who you're going to be talking to for a chain of anything. Unless you're dealing with recruiting, they'll be like HR.
So today I was talking to a contracting company because I'm trying to go after contractors. And one of the things I heard them say was that we're a fairly small company and we're already completely booked. How would you go around something like that?
I wouldn't mess with it.
You wouldn't? All right.
If they're thinking they're already completely booked, their mindset's wrong. That isn't a you problem. That's an internal problem. And when you're dealing with just marketing, as your businesses grow, you will develop systems to help these companies with more than marketing. That's what Temple and I do. We help companies now with more than just marketing. But when you are dealing with just marketing, you can't go near those people. Because what you guys are charging right now, like the price ranges we're giving you for the marketing, you can charge the same amount or more to help them with their internal structure. Pretty cool. Easy way to double your revenue without having to add more clients.
When you get on a call with one of these gatekeepers or decision makers, is it always niche down with the vertical you pursue?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
It just makes it a lot easier to be able to get your desired outcome more consistently.
Yeah. Because you don't want to call them and offer up dental cleanings. That's a dime a dozen in their industry. But if you say Invisalign leads, then that will perk up their ears, right?
Exactly. What'll happen is, and I love that you're doing that because it's a cosmetics. It's a cosmetic service that's cash based. So anytime that you're dealing with any niche, if you start with whatever the highest, most valuable service is for them, the worst case scenario is you end up selling a service or start promoting a service that's lesser than that. But you're not going to weed out the highest buyers. So for example, if somebody's selling or running an ad for a $30,000 product, anybody that can only afford a $1,000 product or a $2,000 product is still going to be interested to hear about the $30,000 product and how that can make them $1 million. But what'll happen is if you pitch it to where you're only gearing it towards people want to buy a $5,000 product, anybody that is only looking to spend $6,000 to $30,000 won't even look at your ad. So if you start with the highest value product first or service, you're going to catch everybody. And then you'll end up turning some of those people that only wanted to buy a $1,000 product into wanting to buy your $30,000 product because they see the value. So I love that you lead with Invisalign.
Yeah, that brings me to another question, Rob. Do you have any experience yourself with Invisalign?
Nope, I do not. We just sell on the KPIs.
Because I'm asking because I saw your LinkedIn profile and it says I help dentists, blah blah blah. I forget your tagline, but I know that your LinkedIn profile you were pursuing dentists at one time.
Yeah, it was because they were just easier to sell and I outsourced stuff. But I've never actually ran ads myself. Or for them anyway. I run ads for myself for my own business. But I was never interested in really learning the in-depths about any of that. What we're doing now is different because we have a more full service ordeal just niching down to real estate. But at the time, I wasn't interested in anything but selling. Because it's what I knew. So I knew whatever business I can get on the phone, I'm sure you guys have seen some of my YouTube videos, but we would just get any business on the phone. When I did Agency in a Box myself, I could close any type of company. I just need to figure out whatever their highest value product was that they wanted to push out the door, why that was important, why they couldn't get it out the door now, what their closing percentage was. And then we would always sell them the monthly amount based on what it would take to break even for one sale. So like a roofer is $10,000 a month, or a $10,000 sale. They usually make $5,000. So it would be realistic for them to spend $5,000 a month. And with the amount of leads that we could drive for a new roof, it would have been really easy to be able to sell that deal.
I'm glad you said, because I got 2 roofers to close next week.
Boom. That's what it is. And it's always really good to end. I mean, we're not going to talk about, I guess we don't need to talk about the objection handling, but right now when you close a deal, but yeah, when you do get to the very end of the objection handling, that's a lot of it. It's like, what's the risk? Hardly anything. I was like, do you believe in probability? What made you go into business? I know you believe in probability. You believe in you, right? You trust me, so you believe in me, right? I would go with your gut. And they start giving you objections. And this is a different type of objection, but I'll be like, it sounds to me like that's all a non-issue. Like they're non-issues. Let's go ahead and do it. And that's when the game gets fun. Temple and I are going to post up a video, and I was using that close on somebody like for 30 minutes straight. I was like, it's a non-issue. Let's do it. It's a non-issue. Welcome to the family. I said that 4 times before they moved forward. And I stood up and he didn't even shake my hand. I put my hand out for one of the welcome to the family closes. I think the second one, he just looked at me. It's awesome. Still closed it for $3,500 a month. Yeah. But, and that's what it is. Sometimes you just have to keep knowing when to go in for the close. It has to be a regular thing. It's like your kids saying, but why? And then you tell them an answer. They're like, but why? And then you tell them a different answer. Your kids are asking the same thing. Your kids are closing you. So, and it's fun. I have 2 kids, so I look at this really closely and the things that they do, because their innocence makes them great closers. Because they know what they want and they keep fighting for what they want. So it's really important to pay attention to what they're doing, because they're the best closers. Society basically takes us off track from what we already know, and that's how to pursue what we want, because they normalize being normal. Whereas kids, they just wake up and they're like, I want candy for breakfast. And they'll go into the cabinets, and then you'll put them in timeout, and they'll find a sneakier way to go get the candy, or they'll ask you 1,000 different times. They're the best closers. So it's like the other day we were in Walmart, and I know this is probably a different style than you're used to talking with Temple guys. And that's why Temple and I are such a great team with this. It's because the visuals we apply and everything. But real life experiences, the more you can pay attention to them, the more you're going to realize what these skills do for you. It's like we were leaving Walmart, and my daughter asked the person for a sticker. And then he's like, I don't have a sticker. We don't have stickers here. So she left, turned around, and looked at me, and she's 4 years old. And she's like, sorry, Dad, I had to ask. And I was like, dang straight you do. You'll never know if you don't ask. So when you hear things like that, just really let that stuff sink in, because whenever you go in and ask for the close, some people are afraid to. Some people think that they're not ready. Some people feel like they haven't built the value. They haven't earned it, whatever the reason might be. But you'll never know unless you ask.
I'll be honest. I dread the feeling of cold calling, but now that I'm watching this and listening to you speak on the issue or the subject, I feel a lot more at ease, I guess. We'll see.
Like fishing. You can't catch a fish every cast, but you're just going to keep casting and keep casting.
No, I know. Repetition is the key. I just don't do it often enough, where I guess I overthink it. So that's something I have to overcome in time, and I will.
I love
It's
that, bro.
scary until you start.
Yeah. I mean, everyone goes in with a clean slate, right? And you'll have limiting beliefs and some things that hold you back on actually doing something. It doesn't have to even be cold calling. It could be like cleaning, the house or something like that. But the more you do it, the more it becomes a habit. And then when it becomes a habit, it becomes fully ingrained in your subconscious, and then it becomes a behavior.
Right. It just happens.
Yes. So I got to just keep I just got to do it more often.
Right. And, this is a different part of the membership area, which I think it's already uploaded, affirmations. And it's really important to understand those because you're going to get told no every day more than you're told yes.
I see where you're going with this. Yeah.
Yeah. You need to wake up and tell yourself every day that you are the best. You are what the world needs. You are literally what is moving the world forward. Now, whether that's happening that day or not, your compounded actions are making that a reality. It's just not manifesting today. It's so important to make sure you're doing that because that's going to be the root of what continues to drive you through the ebbs and flows of entrepreneurship.
And your subconscious, getting back to your subconscious, it absorbs everything. It has no barrier. Like yes, no. There's no. I mean, I can speak all day about this issue, but I know where you're going when you mention no, because you hear it a certain amount of times, then it starts to become
real,
part of your sales pitch, right?
Hear it.
And you anticipate it.
Hey, if I get 100 no's, I'm bound to get at least 10 yeses, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're only thinking about the yeses and every time you get a no, then you're going to be like, oh, this sucks. But if you're like, hey, I'm going to get told no, when you do get a yes, you're going to be like, oh, all right, here we go. Let's do this. Like,
yeah.
That's the best way I like to do it.
Yeah, you can't get to the yes without the no, 100%. I love that you brought that up. Yeah, it used to be funny when I worked in the gym industry, and that was always a game we played, like who can get the most no's. Because whoever gets the most no's is going to get the most yeses. So let's see who's not afraid to fail. That dial is like your ATM, man. The more times you click it, the more money you make. The better you get. I've never seen anyone make it to the Hall of Fame in baseball without having the at-bat as the most at-bats and the most strikeouts. You just got to swing. You got to keep swinging.
And the Baseball Hall of Fame is the hardest Hall of Fame to get into.
Yeah. Like failure is part of the process. You just got to keep swinging. Now you'll get better at it and it'll be refined. But yeah, a lot of this game is mental. It starts with a mental thing. Like even when I put my kids to bed, I tell them who's going to change the world. They say, I am. I say, how? They're going to say, helping people. We say it every single night and every time I drop them off in the morning. Like it's not going to be a question to them whenever they get older. And then, they say, what are they going to do? They know they're going to change the world. It's not going to be unfamiliar to them. Like that's just easy. So it's important for us to tell ourselves every day, we are what the world needs. And, we made a video about this the other day, and it's kind of funny to an extreme, but it's like the world does need more hard closers and people that know effective communication. It's the best thing for humanity because we're helping deliver the right solution to people, assuming you do this ethically, which you should. But because you guys are you're going to learn some really cool, like the whole getting them to say what you're thinking and agree with them like it's their own idea thing. Like, that's some high level shit. So, but that's awesome. I love hearing that you feel more comfortable with this now after hearing this. Mm-hmm. It does get easier as you have the process. So remember, you jump on the call, you get the decision. Well, first tell them what you do and who you are, straight to the point. Not like, oh yeah, weather's nice today, and like no one cares. Like no one cares. So go in, tell them what you do, let them know who you're looking for, which is whoever would be interested in hearing the step-by-step process. Get the decision maker's name. Call back again if you need to. If they don't let you talk to them right away, ask for the decision maker. If they don't let you talk to them, leave a voicemail and then send a email. Which do I have that? Where's that on here? And leave a voicemail. Not everyone leaves voicemails. I like to. If you have a website set up, and you put your website and you have your VSL on the website. Because they're going to go look for you anyway. And if your Facebook set up properly, which we put that in there, how to optimize your profiles, they're going to come looking at you. They want to see who you are. So that's how you address that. Because your profile funnel will send them to your VSL application page anyway. So that's why I don't mind leaving voicemails. Cool, guys. This is, what'd you guys think of this? Was this helpful?
Oh, yeah. I learned a lot.
Yeah, like I said, I've been doing a lot of cold calls for like the last 6 years in insurance, so I'm excited to do something a little bit different and hopefully see a much bigger return on it.
Yeah, dude, this is awesome. Yeah, you're gonna love this, Drew, especially using this, making sure you go over the process of just keeping it simple. We'll put that script in there too whenever you're dropping your initial. See here, we want to put in there. I know I have that in here already. Where'd it go?
And Rob, I know you covered a lot of this during the summer. I know I remember the video you made. It was called Rapid Fire Rebuttal. And you did cover a lot of these issues, but I guess it, once I watched it one time and I didn't go back to it. So I didn't really absorb all this information like I am right now. But yeah, learning a lot.
Yeah, we went more into detail here. That was just how to handle like objections.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you went, again, like the title says, you went rapid fire. So that's why.
Dope. Awesome. I'm really glad we got a lot out of this, guys. We're going to be uploading this into the program, into actual actionable videos, not this recording call. So we're going to break this down into different modules for everybody.
Awesome.
So this is kick ass. So we appreciate you guys. First of all, we seriously are. I know we don't talk about this a lot because we're the quote unquote closers. You got to be a hard ass, right? But we seriously do appreciate you guys jumping in because you guys got in at the ground floor of this, and we are working like literally every day to add in new videos and restructure and doing these coaching calls and building new modules around it, asking questions and seeing the best way everyone's receiving the information. Like you guys saw that we're redoing based on that poll that Temple did. Every video is being redone with PowerPoint slides and voiceovers.
I think that's going to make a difference. I mean, I like the interaction, but I think from a learning standpoint and as far as like a long-term course, that'll make a bigger difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're redoing everything. For
me, I'm more of a visual learner. So just seeing like diagrams, PowerPoint slides, that would, you can talk about a subject until you're blue in the face, and I might not get it, but if I see a slide on what you're teaching, and then I'll get it right away.
Exactly. I love that. I 100% agree. And we've realized that too.
You help everyone else who jumps in.
What's that, Thomas?
It's definitely going to help everyone else who ends up jumping in. I think so.
Absolutely. Well, how are you guys liking being able to put everything in the Facebook group and then Temple looking at everything that you're doing?
I personally, it's very helpful, especially with all the attention Temple gives us. So, he's always one text away.
Yeah, I know. I can't promise how long we'll be one text away, but
no, I remember.
No, we signed up. He told us we get the personal touch.
He said that.
We're in that VIP club. We can't leave now.
No, I remember when Rob was when you were very prompt in messaging people back, but as the program got bigger, just obviously like there's only 24 hours in a day, right? So you can only get back to a certain amount of people and then do your daily tasks. And yeah, in other words, I know you're not, just like pushing us aside and not, like making us like, like the last thing you want to get back to and blah, blah. Yeah. So I get it if you don't get back to us right away.
Yeah, 100%. And Temple's stoked to like be able to have you guys in the inner circle and talking every day. And like, cause we talk about it every day and we try to find ways to make things more efficient. And we have a new guy coming on, and the guy's a boss. His name is Victor Toms. And he's going to be communicating with everybody really closely starting next week in every group. So, and then Temple and I are also blocking off 30 minutes a day each on each end of the day to go into, if you notice that we've been more active in the Facebook group answering everyone's questions. So in every group, so we're doing that 30 minutes a day in the public group and the private groups to answer all the new questions that are popping up. And then we're compiling FAQ sheets that we'll put in the greeting post. That's going to be a running sheet of everyone's questions to make it really accessible. So, this is awesome, guys. This is freaking kick ass. So awesome. We're going to get these modules made up for you. Any last questions before we jump off? Dope. All right, let's get it. You use these, use what you learned today and put in the Facebook group when you land an appointment today.
Appreciate you.
Cool. Hell yeah. I'll upload this recording in there, but we'll take it out after we have the modules built. Dope. All right, guys.
Yeah, Rob, thanks for doing this, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll catch you guys on Monday.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Later.
See you guys.
There.
Oh, Matt. Bad timing.
What's up, Matt?
Oh, that's
Adios.